Greetings, Taku Faithful. Thank you for joining me again this week. Once again, it's Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, and I'm here to bring you all yet again another Vikings episode review right here on Otaku Assemble Weekly. And as always, I'm here to bring you the latest in this week's Vikings episode review. And this is my review of Season 1, Episode 6, entitled Burial of the Dead. First and foremost, I can finally, confidently say these are my Season 1 reviews. For those of you all who haven't heard the news yet, as of this past Friday, History Channel has officially renewed Vikings for a second season. So, I can finally confidently say that yes, these are all of my Viking Season 1 reviews, and now I'm looking forward to being able to do Season 2 reviews. So this is awesome. This is awesome. Anyway, so getting back to my review of Episode 6 entitled Burial of the Dead. General thoughts on this week's episode. Once again, another good episode. Once again, another fast episode. And as you all know, I've made this comment numerous times throughout my episode reviews for Vikings that this is a very fast-paced series. That the events that occur happen very quickly and the plot moves very rapidly, and this episode was no exception. Case in point, we finally saw the conclusion to Ragnar and Earl Haraldson's conflict, and that was resolved within the first half of the episode, and we've already been set up for the events of next week's episode. So once again, plot keeps moving along, things are moving quickly. And I'm loving this so far. I'm constantly impressed by how much material that they're actually able to cover in just a 45-minute episode, and how much we've already covered just in 6 episodes. So that's something that I'm both surprised, impressed, and that I actually enjoy about the series. Now, things I want to talk about in this week's review. First off, the conclusion to Ragnar and Haraldson's conflict and Earl Haraldson's demise. While I wasn't too impressed by the fight itself, with the exception of the end of the fight when Haroldson was actually able to, start getting some licks on Ragnar, I actually was surprised about that. How well he was actually able to keep up with Ragnar. And Ragnar was still wounded and injured from last week's episode, but Haroldson was still actually able to hold up his own pretty well, and I'm surprised that all his years spent on a throne have not deprived him of being as much of a warrior as he used to be. He still kind of had his wits about him and was actually pretty good with that axe. But I will say, the first portion of that fight, it was okay. But then again, what all could really be expected given the circumstances of the fight? As good of a warrior as Haroldson still is, he is still an old man, and Ragnar's wounded. So yeah, it wasn't going to be this epic, battle that we might have expected. Which, hey, I just think that just sets us up for I think that just sets us up for more compelling, more action-packed fights in the future. You don't really want to go ahead and set off, a grand finale this soon. You kind of want to save a little for later. You don't want to completely stuff your audience. You want to what's the term I'm looking for? You want to whet their palate for more to come. So hey, maybe they could be doing that. Who knows? But I will say though, outside of the fight itself, I liked everything they did with the beginning and with the before and after the battle. The fact that Haroldson actually admitted to Siggy that he respected Ragnar, and that was due to the fact that he saw so much of his younger self in Ragnar. And then also how Ragnar, despite, everything that happened between him and Earl Haroldson, he's like, hey, no, he was a good Earl. He was a good warrior. I'm going to give him the burial he deserves. And he went all out with it. So this, just the way that both men were actually able to mutually acknowledge each other with respect and with admiration, I think that was just I think that was very significant, and that was very important to the nature of their feud. And once again, it just brings everything back to a comment I mentioned in one of my previous reviews, where it's not that these men hate each other. It's just that this is the circumstance that they have found themselves in. This is the nature of the situation. These men, who, and I mentioned this before, are very much alike, just on opposite ends of the same coin. And so, and hey, what did Haroldson say? The thing was, he feared Ragnar because Ragnar was like his younger self. He was ambitious. He had an eye for for ambition and for greatness. He wanted that, and he feared that Ragnar would take his spot. And it's the same thing I mentioned, I think, in my episode 1 review, my episode 1 or my episode 2 review. It's that whole thing about the old lion fearing the young one who might take his place as head of the pride. The old alpha male and the young wolf who have to battle for supremacy over the pack. It's the same type of situation. But no, neither character hated each other. And I like that they were able to illustrate that, to make it clear to the characters who were being told this, but also to the audience, that this was the nature of their feud. Second thing I want to talk about, and this was actually the thing that kind of had me like, oh my god, Rollo. Okay, once again, I'm still trying to figure Rollo out, but that comment he made to Siggy about, you were once married to an Earl, wouldn't you like to be married to one again? And when she said who, he said me, of course. Okay, so does that mean that Rollo's going to try and conspire to get the chiefhood from Ragnar? Because for a second there, when he made that comment, I was under the impression that Ragnar would probably hand over the title to Rollo. Because let's face it, once again, like I said earlier, Ragnar never wanted to be Earl. He never wanted to be Earl, and I'm pretty sure that Ragnar is not the type of he has not been developed as the type of character that is that greedy or that petty. Greed and well, Ragnar does have pride, but greed and pride are not two things that have really motivated or have really compelled Ragnar in the past. So that this whole idea that he would just hand over that position of power to his brother does not seem too unlikely. Because remember, all Ragnar wanted to do was just sail west. Hell, if one Earl was giving Ragnar so much difficulty, then why not another Earl who would give Ragnar the freedom to do whatever he wants? And hell, it's his brother. That doesn't seem like too bad of an idea. Now, of course, that didn't happen, but that was just one of the first thoughts I had when Rollo made that comment, because I didn't just want to completely jump to, oh, he's gonna try to kill Ragnar and take the title. I didn't want to jump to that so soon. But now that comment has been made, I can't really ignore it. You know what I'm saying? So I do not know how that is going to play out. If anything, though, I'm thinking that now that we know we're getting a second season, I think that might be one of the main things to take place in the second season. Hell, might even happen at the end of this season, and that'll be the big cliffhanger for next season, is Rollo's betrayal. Or who knows? Rollo might actually leave and become the Earl of another group. You know, that's a possibility. All three of those, you know, with Ragnar just handing him the title, with Rollo conspiring to take it from Ragnar, and with Rollo journeying elsewhere to become an Earl in his own right. All three of those are still completely on the table because we don't know which route Rollo will take. I really hope it's not the second one. If anything, let it be the latter. Or hell, I'll even settle for the first one. Because, I mean, even seeing Ragnar as Earl, you could see it on his face. He didn't really... He wasn't as enthusiastic about it as you might think. It was kind of like, oh, well, you know, it's just the way it is. This is what happened, so this is what I'm going to do. But you did kind of get the sense that he didn't really want it. And he was kind of just obligated to do so because that's the way it works. If you kill the Earl, you take his place. So maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I don't think we've really gotten the chance yet since last week's episode. I don't think we've gotten a chance to really get back into Ragnar's head, and that's just because he's been flung into this immediate conflict at hand. So we've had to see Ragnar pretty much operate based off of his actions and based off his conversations for others, but we haven't really gotten much time with him to himself since 2 weeks ago. Since the trial was the last time we saw that. So I would really be interested in seeing what it is that's going on up here, you know. And also, hey man, the cliffhanger for next week's episode, Ragnar has decided to send more ships west. However, King, and how do you pronounce his name? Is it just L? King Al? L? I think is how you pronounce it. Yeah, he's ready. They're not attacking an unsuspecting village, and they're not going up against a small force. They're going to be going up against a full-fledged army. So yeah, the king is ready, and I am really looking forward to see how. Now, granted, Ragnar has more men with him too. You know, he has at least 3 ships worth of men, but we saw that they had enough difficulty fending off a small force just with 1 shipload. Will 3 really be enough to counteract an entire mobilized army? On land, on horseback, and I'm pretty sure are going to be well equipped. So we will find out, won't we? Really interested to see what goes on with that. So anywho, that's pretty much going to wrap up this week's review. I want to thank you all for joining me again this week, and in the comments below, let me know your thoughts on this week's episode, as well as some of your thoughts to some of the questions I posed in this review. What do you think Rollo's going to do? How do you think, hey, he talked about getting together with Siggy. What role do you think she'll play later on in the series, if in fact we do see her around more? What do you think about Ragnar's new campaign back to England? How you think that's going to fare? And please don't cheat by going on Wikipedia or going on History Channel's website or looking up the actual historical campaigns of Ragnar Lothbrok. I know this is still based, as fantastical as they have made it seem, it is still based within some relative confine of historical accuracy. So no historical proof is what I'm saying. I'm keeping this thing fully open to speculation for all you would-be historians, because I know you guys are going to do it. I know somebody's going to do it. Look at him right now. Look at him typing it up, looking it up, giving me dates and shit. Look at him. I knew it. Yeah. Okay, you know, you guys can go ahead and leave your historical comments too. I'm just fucking around with you guys. It's a joke. Lighten up. Anywho. But yeah, so that's going to do it for me this week. And until next time, this has been Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, signing off. And until next time, peace.